Great news, it's Tuesday, August 27th, and the targeted loot on the map in the First Descendant has reset, and that means I got a new weekly grind guide just for you to make your farming adventures that much more efficient. Let's get to it.
Tux makes it exciting!
Before we get into the details of the grind guide, let's make sure we're all on the same page. If you've reached the end game, you can go into your map here, make sure your world is set to hard. You could access the targeted loot area and use the filters as you please. So I use in-game experience plus this targeted loot filter system in order to create the grind guide. So I'm going to quickly break down how this thing is working. What I've done is taken each of the best farms in the game, listed what gear is dropping in that zone and who that gear aligns to best. Then I have other recommendations for gear outside of the best farming spots in the game. So this runs for 7 days from August 27th to September 2nd. We're starting with the White Knight Gulch, and this is the fortress outskirts. A very popular place to farm. You get gold, you get Kuiper, and you get the blue brains that are needed for catalysts. So you're probably constantly farming for these. This is a good place to go. There's multiple bosses that drop here. The idea is to just run the clock. You don't have to complete the mission if you don't want to. You can abort after you kill all the enemies and restart. There's more gear than you can handle in this zone. So this week, it's not super hot. The fortress outskirts is going to be dropping fire reactors with fusion and high-powered rounds. And the only descendant that aligns with this is Esimo, who's not super popular right now. Hopefully he gets a buff, but you're probably going here anyways for those blue brains. So now you can pick up a reactor for your Esimo. Also, in the White Knight Gulch area, Moongrave Basin is dropping processors for this week. So if you need more external components, there you go. In the fortress map, within the defense line zone, there's this outpost known as the Balby Run. Super popular for gold and leveling XP, as well as Kuiper, and lots of gear drops here. It's going to be dropping fire reactors with special rounds and singular for the skill attribute, but there's not really a descendant that could take advantage of that. So no bueno this week. Echo Swamp is going to be the hottest spot for the week. This is the abandoned zone, and the mission is called Environment Contamination. Lots of people farm this, especially with their bunny. You can clear it in seconds, like 30 seconds with 2 bunnies. There's multiple bosses. They drop red brains, by the way. This is a very good farm. It doesn't drop a ton of loot per run, but enough to make it worth it because it only takes a few seconds to clear this. And because you're clearing 2 bosses, you also have a chance at a Transcendent mod. So this week, the abandoned zone is dropping non-attribute reactors with general rounds and dimension. So this makes it perfect for Glay or Ultimate Glay, especially if you're running the Thunder Cage with her, which is a pretty darn good weapon on her. Balby aligns with this, as well as Jaber. So 3 descendants align with these reactors dropping in Echo Swamp. Take advantage. And just around the corner in Muskeg Swamp, you can get your memory external components. In that zone, I just recommend doing the outpost. Okay, let's look at Sterile Lands. There's 2 very popular places to farm on this map. You have the Kuiper Mine and you have Ambush Point. In the repository zone, you could also farm the outpost. It runs similar to the Balby Run in the fortress. In that outpost, you can just run in circles, but the Kuiper Mine is pretty darn efficient. It's a really good farm. It's fast and it drops more loot than the outpost. So good news, this is going to be a great farm for that toxic general rounds tech reactor. It's perfect for Freyna, especially if you're running the Python or the Fallen Hope. You can probably get the only reactor you're going to need for Freyna right here. Now, Ultimate Freyna is going to be coming in Season 1, and we don't know if her Transcendent mods are going to change her skill attributes, but there are other weapons that synergize Freyna that run on different ammo that you might want to be on the lookout for as well. Ambush Point is one of the original farms in the game. It's also in Sterile Lands in the Rockfall zone. This one's nice because it's just outside of the spawn point, the outpost. It's really short. You can clear it within seconds. It's always busy. And it also drops code breakers, and those are ever so important. Speaking of code breakers, This is the perfect farm for Enzo this week, as well as Luna and Eugen, and that's because Rockfall is dropping non-attribute, high-power round singular reactors. This makes it especially nice for Enzo because he can run just about any weapon, including high-power round weapons like the Afterglow sword, and have unlimited ammo. So if you're looking to power up the drone on his shoulder, this is a way to do it. And I know people are starting to explore more with Luna and Eugen, especially with the Gluttony boss. Eugen, for example, his heals are even driven by skill power, so don't overlook reactors for him. So the cool thing about all of these farms is that while you're collecting your gear, you can also be leveling up your characters. So I know Bunny can be one of the fastest farmers in the game, but don't forget about those characters you need to level up. It's a good way to kill two birds with one stone. The other recommendations I have for you today are a good weapon for Viessa is the Blue Beetle. That's because it gives you more crit when you use a fusion skill with it. When you activate a fusion skill, and it's a passive buff. So in Agna Desert, the Vermilion Waste Zone is dropping chill reactors with impact rounds and tech. So that's perfect for the Blue Beetle Scout Rifle. It's a really good zone to be hanging out in. There's lots of good activities there, and that's a good zone for Bunny too. Speaking of Bunny, if you're looking for a Thunder Cage reactor for her, you can go to the Fortress map and the Aurora Forest zone. This is going to be dropping electric general round singular reactors. Perfect for the Thunder Cage. Now, Bunny doesn't shoot a lot, but holding a Thunder Cage does help with her movement speed even more. So this is the spot to get that reactor. Now, there's not that many missions in this zone, but of the ones that are there, I do recommend this one. It goes relatively quick. You don't have to worry about the actual objective. Just kill the waves. It's not the best farm in the game, but it's what we have this week for the Bunny Thunder Cage. Don't forget to check out the Sharon build, Enzo build, and Jaber build that I recently put out. I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for hanging out with me. My name is Tuxedo Bandido. That's Tito Bandido.
One and only.
And this was another episode of The First Descendant. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The First Descendant. And if you like videos like this, check out the one I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy or download anything for The First Descendant, be sure to use Tux's creator code to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Follow me.